here at the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. And joining me today is Ms. Saxon Marvin. There she is in the background. Saxon serves as an intern with the Southern U.S. Trade Association here at the department. And, she's finishing her law degree in UK and just finished her master's in diplomacy there. So fortunate to have her on board. But I'm here today more than anything just to learn about the opportunity. My background, I had farmed full-time until 2004 down in southern Kentucky, and we had a grain and livestock operation. Spent 7+ years with the Governor's Office on Agricultural Policy, working with the tobacco settlement funds, and was instrumental in helping get the Kentucky Ag Finance Corporation started while I was there. And then been part of the Department of Agriculture, was part of the marketing team for a few years, and now working in the Commissioner's Office since 2019. So been reading the information about the event. Just a little bit of background about my wife and I. We do enjoy traveling, and we've actually been able to travel quite a bit during COVID. A few places we went, we were the only 2 people on the property. So it has advantages and disadvantages. But look forward to today's conversation and learning more about your vision and seeing if there's a way that we can play a part.
Great. Tim just came back. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tim, we just had an Ag Development Board meeting in Lexington today. I'm on the board of the Ag Development Board, with Bo, and we had a meeting today, as a matter of fact.
Right. I think we've invested a little over $600 million back in the ag economy since 2000 through those funds, and it's really made a difference on individual farms as well as the overall productivity of Kentucky agriculture.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you all. I'm going to say a few words, and I'm going to do a little short PowerPoint. I live right now on my mom's side of the family farm in Madison County. It's about 30 acres, and this farm and property goes back in our family to the 1800s. Then I'm also involved on my in-laws' side, a 900-acre farm down in Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, that also goes back to the 1800s. And I wear a variety of hats. I'm regarded as the counselor for Kentucky for Slow Food USA. I've been to Terra Madre a number of times. They sometimes call me Mr. Terra Madre. But also, as I'll say a little later on, I was a founder of the Good Foods Co-op 50 years ago. But coming as like the fifth generation of what I call agrarian intellectual activist, I've had farming in my life before I was even born. And so I've always worn that hat in a whole variety of ways. But let me, if I can, proceed on to just a short little PowerPoint and kind of give us an overview, if you want to call it that, of what we're talking about. So again, the main topic for today and maybe meetings thereafter is this experience called Terra Madre that we hope that there will be a Team Kentucky, okay, going this year to Terra Madre, a team. And we've had over the years different people who've gone, okay. I've gone. Maybe some of you all might know Weta Michael, who owns Holly Hill Inn and about 50 other restaurants, okay. She's been. There was another friend of mine named Mark Williams. He was a longtime chef at Brown Foreman. He's been a number of times. Loma Du, who's part of the Sierra Club. And there have been folks who represent Slow Food Bluegrass, which is in Louisville, Kentucky, and Slow Food Lexington as well, who've attended. So we've, been there in good fashion. But again, these are the dates for the combined event, Terra Madre Salone de Gusto. It's in what we tend to call Turin, Torino, September 22nd through 26th. And here's just some of the statistics about it. The Salone part began back in 1994 okay, as a big, huge, I call it a ginormous food and ag trade show, okay, on steroids. If you can imagine the convention center in Lexington or the one in Louisville, 5 of those. That's how big this event is. They kind of conjoined at the hip, if you will, in 2004. Normally, we get about 8,000 delegates from 160 plus countries. There are 1,000 plus exhibitors. And the event is supported by a wide range of folk, but includes the city of Turin, and they have, folks, more of a regional government. They support it, as well as the European Union and the FAO and all kinds of folks. We have somewhere on the Slow Food International website pretty much a financial report every year that kind of gives you the financial backing for the event. But we do a variety of things internationally. Yes, we do what we call Terra Madre. We also do what's called the Arc of Taste. We're involved right now, as many of us are, around the whole impact of agriculture and food and climate change. We have a Slow Food Youth Network, slow meat, slow cheese, slow wine, slow all kinds of things. 10,000 gardens in Africa. We have also a university, and I think it's Polenza. Mara had to help me. It's a University of Gastronomic Sciences. I spoke over at Center College. Go ahead.
It's just based in Polenzo, Italy.
Yeah,
Right, University of Gastronomic Sciences.
Yeah, and I spoke over at Center College back in the fall. I've got several students who I spoke to who are interested possibly in attending in a graduate level that university. But so again, we do a variety of things, and I'm going to refer just real quickly here about what's called the Arc of Taste. This is, again, an international effort to collect and help preserve and protect not only food products, not only seeds, but cultural foodways in a variety of ways. And traditionally, at the Terra Madre, you would see this kind of exhibit showcasing all those some 6,000 plus Arc of Taste items. I mentioned it because I wanted to try to give you an idea of how Kentucky is already involved, okay, in this experience. Now, I'm sure you all know what this picture is, but that's I'm getting with Tim here. This is a trivia game, okay? Of course, that's Bibb lettuce, and hope everyone knows that Bibb lettuce, 2 things, is on the Arc of Taste, but Bibb lettuce, as some of you all know, was developed right here in Kentucky, right in Frankfort. So Kentucky is in the house when it comes to the Terra Madre, legacy and whatever. But what we're also, and the Slow Food Bluegrass has every year like a benefit dinner that they call the Bluegrass Arc of Taste. Now, what we're also trying to do, some of you all might know this young guy here, Bill Best. Mara, he's known as the Bean Man, the Tomato Man, and I don't know what all else. He's been collecting seeds probably his whole life. He's written several books, and we are in the process of getting some of his work as well up on the Arc of Taste. I'm going to be visiting him actually next week, bringing in some folks from Virginia who are part of our new Ujamaa Seed Cooperative. But he's a dear friend. Also, you might know this guy right here. I don't know if you know. I'm just teasing here, okay? Wendell Berry, prolific, as we know, author, farmer, and I'm going brain dead here. But he and his wife have been farming in Henry County back, before he was even born. I've been there a number of times. Dear friend, and as we know, his daughter Mary is kind of taking over the Berry Center, and we're hoping to get her. But my point is that Wendell Berry is an icon in the slow food movement. Some of his quotes are at the opening ceremony. His picture, his quotes are throughout the exhibit area, and he hasn't gone there yet, okay? But he is still one of our gift card icons, and we borrow a lot from his writings. This image here is not Harlan Sanders, okay, Colonel. This is our image, okay, of like the godfather, if you will, of the slow food movement. In the middle there is Carlo Petrini, who was somewhat the founder of slow food back in the 80s. But now again, it's a global experience. But we're always appreciative of honoring our elders. Typically, there's an opening ceremony and a closing something. Opening ceremony is somewhat like the Olympics. Folks march in with their country flag, going in and around the big arena area, sitting on stage. The countries all get called by name and things like that. Then there's also usually a fantastic closing ceremony. But folks come from all over the world. Again, 160 plus countries have slow food presidia, slow food chapters, slow food convivia, slow food presence, and folks come as they normally dress, okay? And it's very colorful from all over the world. It's where folks come. And within the Terra Madre aspect of the event, every region or every continent has representation, and within those continental areas, and in every country, has an exhibit booth. Some of them real huge, okay? Some not so huge. As you can imagine, the one from, let's say, from China, or the one from Italy, is huge. China's real huge. But they're all there, so you get a chance to walk around and meet folks from all over the world. Now, so we're about talking about Terra Madre, of course. And here, I'm sorry, let me go back a minute. Here's some of the posters and signage from the various Terra Madres over the years. They're always very beautiful, very colorful, very thematic. And if you go into to Italy, you see these kind of posters all over the country. If you fly into Rome, you see them in the airport. You see them in Milan. You see them in Venice. You see them, of course, in Torino. All kinds of beautiful imagery as part of the each year's theme. Here's one of the images of more of the Salone kind of trade show experience. We've held the Salone in the old Fiat plant, called the Lingato, for a number of years. Again, it's about 5 convention centers big. But some of the imagery of what it might look like if we were to, of course, go there with a more stylized Kentucky booth. Some of the other images of there's all kinds of tastings and people, and you can also you buy things, taste things, barter for things, okay, or whatever. Every kind of food imaginable is there. Processed dried fish, processed foods, fresh foods and vegetables of all sorts, and wonderful kind of displays. Seafood from all over the world comes in there as well. So again, every kind of food imaginable is there to taste, buy, sell, and create other kinds of import-export kinds of relationships. Again, all kinds of tastings. There's tea tasting, as you can imagine, from all kind of countries are doing tea tastings. Of course, wine tasting, where you have the wine masters there describing these wines and what they're made from, things like that. And I could always thinking as I go there, I said, well, where are the Kentucky wines? Okay, and I'm sure that Alan and Leslie and other folks who are making wine are thinking, I need to be there, okay, representing our farm, Kentucky, for these tastings. Also, there's every kind of drink you can imagine is also to be tasted. This is one of those beer areas. And again, within the what's called the Enoteca, within the wine area, there might be 5,000 labels of wine that you can go in and you can taste, as well as all the real fashionable tasting workshops. Here's an image of when I was over there in 2018. I went to one of the beer tastings, and on the call I had invited, and he must have had a problem, Brady Barlow, who works at 6th Street Brewery. I was over there a couple of weeks ago, and having a beer with him, and it might have been a couple of beers actually, okay. But he knew of the Firestone folks, and they're not over there selling tires, okay. They're over there trying to sell beer, and an interesting thing about it is, a lot of their favorite beers are flavored with what? Bourbon, okay, bourbon. So when I showed this picture to Brady at 6th Street, he says, man, that could be me there, okay? And like you, Tim, he said, me and my wife love to travel. So anyway, but this is my, thoughts. As I go there, I see always wonderful food and drinks and things that are on display, but I don't see much presence of Kentucky. Now, every year, as Mara mentioned, out of the USA, different states sponsor a team that goes over with a fairly large exhibit area, okay? And within the states, certain regions also have a display. So here's just one example of how the wine country folks say, yeah, we're going to go as part of the California and USA delegation, but we're going to go as our own region, okay? Whether it's Sonoma or Napa or whatever else, because we think our wine is as tasty and as worthy of attention as wine from, say, France or Italy or from somewhere else. Now, so again, I've gone, a bunch of times. Again, I wear different hats. Here I'm in one of the exhibit areas here, but you see I'm wearing my Good Foods Co-op shirt, again, which I helped found 50 years ago. And I invite everyone to come out May 1st over at Good Foods. We'll be outside in the parking lot, and then we'll be celebrating our 50-year anniversary. Now, I miss it because we founded upon 3 principles: local food, healthy food, and organic food. Okay? So those were our principles, and as you know, those are still our principles, and our co-op purchases food from about 250 different producers. So I've been invested, if you want to say that, or involved in loving this work for a long time. But I mention that to say that this is our Kentucky table, okay? This is what I've done 2 or 3 times. Is had a small table only for a few hours, and I was just trying to bring in some different products different products, as well as tourist kind of stuff. Here you see the Bourbon Trail brochure. Some of the Weisenberger flour products, some of the bourbon, of course, was a big hit there, small bottles. So I've had a small table again as my attempt to represent Kentucky. With the Good Foods Co-op, when we formed 50 years ago, one of our first things we purchased was flour and grains from Weisenberger Mill, and we're still buying from Weisenberger. And this honey here actually was from our farm down in West Kentucky. And it's called Mom Bee's honey. And her name was Beatrice. We called her Mama Bee. So this honey is lifting up her memory, okay? And the apple butter there was from the Berea College farm store. You'll also notice that I had the Lexington's Blue Horse. That was a big hit. Everyone loved those. But I just feel that the small table is fine for one day for 2 or 3 hours. I just feel that there ought to be there's much greater synergy if we go there as Team Kentucky. Okay, not just for the exhibit areas, but for the things that we can benefit from and gain as a state, and so forth. Here's a picture of me wearing a jacket that was given to me by some friends of mine that I met from Kazakhstan. I had met them, and we talked a lot, and they gifted me with one of these beautiful brocade jackets. I'm sitting here now. You mentioned, Tim, the Somerset Farm. Well, what I've done the last 5 years, I've been like the featured speaker at Somerset Community College International Festival. And I've been, the keynote speaker for the last 4 or 5 years, speaking about Terra Madre, because they felt that my experience and my bringing back this message every year was important for their students at the college and the surrounding area. So there's all kind of things we can do to both go represent Kentucky in a variety of ways, but also bring back the message where our young people, maybe who can't travel like we do, can also feel and understand what it means to meet up with and experience the world. So I've done that again like the last almost 5 years. So also this year is a important year because every 5 years we have our international congress. It was in Chengdu, China, back in 2017. Happens every 5 years. So not only can folks go, say, as a delegate, you can also go and represent Kentucky as the International Congress. So anyway, so that's my spiel, is that I just think that I've had, again, some wonderful experiences there, as has other folk from Kentucky. And this year, for all kinds of reasons, I've been trying to broaden the net and trying to get more people aware of the experience, the possibilities. I'm aware that several, I think it's Wild Turkey, if I'm not wrong, Wild Turkey bourbon is owned by Camera Group, I think out of Italy, for example. So we already have these Italian Kentucky connections. You all might know, I don't know if you know Joe Bologna, a longtime friend of mine, has a great pizza spot over in Lexington. Of course, there are many people that we know whose legacy goes back to Italy, I think, who would love to join us. So that's my, my vision is that that we assemble, that we figure out how we can take, what I call Team Kentucky to Italy. So, questions, comments, and things of that nature.
Jim, I reviewed the information you sent. I've looked at the website for the event. Looks like it's still showing the 2020 information. I'm not sure if they updated the website for 2022 or not, but
Right.
Of course, Commissioner Quarles is very supportive of anything that grows opportunities for Kentucky farms, and we as a state agency are pretty limited on our direct ability to fund a project like this, but trying to look outside the box and see if there's partners that we work with that we can maybe leverage their funds.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that I was going down to New Orleans last week for the Southern U.S. Trade Association. They have a spring and a winter meeting. And that organization is one of many groups that receives USDA funding to grow export opportunities for American agricultural products. Typically, they can help send businesses that are exporting products to international trade shows. This one's a little different because it seems like it's multifaceted. It's got the education component as well as looks like a business and commerce. And it's not listed as one of the approved shows as of today, but I don't mind checking to see if USDA would allow them to support sending some delegates to this. I think it would have to be very focused if they were able to support it.
Mm-hmm.
It would need to be farms or businesses that would have a product that could be exported. And it doesn't mean that they have to already be in the international marketplace, but there would need to be evidence that they could generate enough volume, or they would be able to meet the standards in order to export a product. And so I think a bourbon or processed food product that met the requirements for the exhibition that was produced using commodities grown here in Kentucky or in the South, I believe we could probably put together something and support that. I don't know if it would cover all of the costs for those individuals to go, but it potentially could cover an exhibit area. I did look, there was one brochure that you sent that outlined all the requirements for exhibitors, and it looks like it's pretty strict as far as the ingredients and the packaging and all of that. So I don't know if we, as the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, were the exhibitor and all we were doing was providing samples or showcasing products, if we would have to meet all those standards or if that would be an option. It was a little unclear on the eligibility for an aggregator exhibitor.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell the requirements. If I was producing something on my farm and I was selling that product, but I wasn't sure, from the Department of Agriculture or a state agency with those requirements. So a lot of different questions built into those comments. So
Absolutely.
I'll wait if you want to respond to those. Or...
Yeah, Mara's going to,
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for those great questions, Tim. It's true that the website hasn't quite been updated yet. Jim's enthusiasm is a little bit ahead of the curve because we are developing all of those things right now. Due to COVID and how much it impacted Italy, they are sort of restructuring the whole program to be an outdoor festival this year. So they have a new location that has different requirements for what the booth sizes will be and things like that. So they're in the process right now of getting all of those documents together and getting all of those requirements sort of squared away, so that we can be really clear about what's going to be allowed and what makes sense. I don't think it'll be that different from before. It'll be a little bit of a smaller event, but because it's outdoors, it'll still be quite large. So I think there's plenty of people that we can reach, but more to come on some of those very specific questions that you have about products and volume and types of packaging and that kind of thing. As we speak, they're working on it. So I can get all of that to Jim.
From Jim's comments, there are organizations that promote multiple products that have exhibited in the past. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we, from a chapter perspective or a community perspective, we actually had a booth that was side by side with a partner, and our Department of Tourism helped sponsor the booth. They actually purchased the venue for us so that the delegates could actually have a home there at the location. And then we worked with various producers to bring products for them. So our one booth had maple, it had cheese, and then we were alongside another Vermont booth that was doing hard cider. And so the cidery makers had their own stuff next door to us, but we were, so it appeared to be a multi-product venue at that time. But yeah, and I think there have been other booths that do more than one thing. I mean, it was a specific area of the conference that we were allowed to be, that was under the United States delegation area, and all the United States delegations were presenting differently. Some of them were just chapters that were sharing the work that the chapters had been doing, and some of them were very food-based. Some of them were, one product. Others were multiple people that went in on a booth together. So I think there's lots of options there, and I'm pretty sure that will carry into this year as well.
Yeah.
Do you know if there are a number of buyers from international companies that attend looking for products?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's the place to be. Yeah.
I think that would be critical for us to be able to be involved. It's creating a marketing opportunity for our products here.
Sure. Yeah. It's funny, Tim. I mentioned all the drinks they have there, alcoholic drinks they have there, and they have on display there some Kentucky bourbons. Okay. But they're brought there by, which is fine, some international distributor. Okay, who has a big booth with distilled spirits. I said, oh wow, there's Kentucky bourbons, which is great, and that's fine. Okay, but part of my thought is, why couldn't on some of those levels, people who were there are the master distillers, okay, from Heaven Hill, Maker's Mark, and Woodford Reserve, okay, as well, giving but not only providing the exhibit, but also doing the tastings and things like that. Not just a third party who's there representing, these Kentucky bourbons is one thought. And then we've also had different representation from the United States for chefs going over. And they do a very focused and a very stylized, huge dinner featuring food, mostly from the South is what it was. These were all about 5 African American chefs from Charleston and Atlanta and Detroit, and they were preparing food with what they called the African diaspora, very focused kind of representation. But also, Mara mentioned my being kind of ahead of the curve. Well, whether true or not, that's because Mark Twain says, if I'm time for me to go, I want to be in Kentucky because we're always so many years behind everybody else. So I got to be in front of the curve to get us, ready as a team Kentucky. But also, if you apply as a USA delegate, then you apply. If you get approved, then a large portion of the expenses while you're on the land are covered through that being a delegate. You pay for your airfare, and then everything else is generally covered, lodging and registration each day and things of that nature. So there could be this idea of a team. There could be an approach where we're looking at various ways to get folks over there that represent still this idea of Team Kentucky. As I mentioned, Hawaii has had some type of display, and generally it's real focused on their incredible Kona coffee. Okay, and I'm headed over there in June, okay, to hang out with some of my friends, okay. We're staying at an Airbnb. We're like 5 miles from this coffee farm, okay. But anyway, so I'm saying that, as Mara was saying, different states, different chapters have approached it somewhat differently. So there's lots of leg room to figure how we might go about doing that. So yeah, those are some of the thoughts. I just think that even though Tim, as you mentioned, the experience in Italy, Terra Madre, is not on that list by the Southern United States Trade Association. I think with proper kind of wording and looking into it, I can't see why it wouldn't be. There are folks there, trust me, who are looking for commerce going on back and forth, who are looking for it, who are making, who are creating relationships, creating contracts all the time.
Do you know of other departments of agriculture, any of the other states have sponsored a display or an exhibit, or do you know if U.S. Department of Agriculture, if they've been involved officially?
I don't know, Mara.
Actually, I don't know, and I can find out. I know exactly who to ask, but I don't have the answer right now. I can find out.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to introduce some of the smaller, specialty distilleries, wineries, and breweries over in an area like that, because we're always looking for growth, and that I think that would be something that we can look at doing. And because we're always looking at the large companies, but I think now the smaller breweries, that they're not being noticed like they should. Not breweries, distilleries. I think that would be just an awesome opportunity for them, especially for me also as a small farm winery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Alan, I'd love to have a conversation with you after this about the different programs and if you have any interest at all in exporting your product, how to get you connected and training on the opportunities and things like that.
Yeah, and just to reaffirm that part of the mission of the Terra Madre experience is to lift up small producers. Okay, it's a big part of the mission is to do just that. All over the world, we're looking to make life more economically viable. Okay, for small producers. There's some folk I think over in might be Ethiopia or Kenya. Ethiopia or India, who are still harvesting honey from like wild bees, for example. Okay, they go down a cliff on these ropes made from vines, and they harvest honey, and then we've created markets for them to take that honey and, make it into a value-added product in order to keep those traditions alive and enable, again, small producers to have a life that is both economically prosperous and viable and sustainable. So we do all kind of things like that, Alan, and we want to see you over there, okay?
Yes, yes. It's kind of funny you said that. Is a lot of times you walk in these stores and you see, but I probably especially Good Food Co-op.
Yeah.
You see a lot of products in the store from small, like for coffee, for example, from small little coffee places.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this excites me to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
And because we've been, I'm saying we've been unnoticed for a long time, and I think this is time to step up for the smaller people.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this market. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Is there a date yet for this?
Yes, September 22nd through 26th. It's about 5 days. Okay, 5 days. And again, Tim referred to it. I sent out, like the exhibitor kind of protocol of what's involved if you're hoping to take items over there. Now again, what you saw on my little table, I took in my suitcase. I took bourbon, I took Weisenberger flour, I took the Homegrown Heroes granola. I also took with me some of the honey. A good friend of mine, y'all may know Tammy Horn Potter, who's a state apiarist. She and I think back when Commissioner Comer was in office, maybe it was Ryan Quam. Anyway, gave me a bunch of bottles of the what's called Cold Country Honey. I think it's what it's called, something like that. Okay, so I've taken all those things, not a whole lot, in my suitcase, but again for all kind of reasons. And what I will do, Tim, I will, like maybe with Mara, I will be in touch because I've been involved in a whole bunch of meetings last year when Biden and Harris came in and Secretary Vilsack came back in the office, and we had a bunch of webinars and a bunch of meetings, and I will definitely be in touch with them more directly about how they can support this effort. Absolutely.
When you mentioned the term delegates, is there a limited number per state, and what is the criteria on somebody being chosen
Mara.
for delegate?
Yeah, I actually think that I'm going to be getting that information tomorrow. Slow Food Italy was promising it by the end of the week. So, generally it has to do with how many chapters per country exist, and then they get a certain allotment of delegates per country. So there is a limit, definitely.
Yep.
So would each person become a delegate then? That, like, if we all from Kentucky wanted to go, each person would be a delegate?
Well, not necessarily. Again, as Mara was saying, each country, I guess maybe each state, will be given a defined number of slots that would fit into the USA delegation. Maybe it's 6 from Kentucky. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Maybe it's 6 from Kentucky. That would if you applied, that could go as a USA delegate. But it's a small number. It's not like a big number. We couldn't take, 15, 20 people. But, again, back to different avenues. We've had, like y'all might know Bob Perry, who chef and local foods guru for UK. He's gone a couple of times. But he's gone, at the, if you want to call it, at the bill of the university. And many people go, speaking of HBCUs, I've met friends there from FAMU, from I think Tuskegee, I think 2 or 3 other, I forget now. But they've gone representing their university, okay? But some of them have gone as a USA delegate, and some have gone on their own, and some of them speak. They're speakers, they lead workshops, they're on panels, and things like that. So the Team Kentucky can again be this broad spectrum of people who have a different role, okay, beyond just a role, say, Alan, as a small producer, but you've done a lot of research. You've written books. Matter of fact, back to Tammy Potter again. When I go by, there's a huge exhibition about bees and honey, and each person is asked if you want you to bring a sample of honey from your country, your state. And when I was over there in 2012 or whatever it was, I took one of Tammy's books with me and a little jar of cold country honey. And folks said, oh, you know Tammy Horn? And it was Horn then, before she got married. I said, yeah, she's a good friend of mine. Oh, over there, she's like a goddess, okay? Because of her outstanding books and research. So I'm just saying that in many ways, we're already present. And there are all kind of ways, I think, to create the Team Kentucky. Again, the young student who's at Center graduates here in May, and she's been in touch with our Slow Food USA executive director about applying for the university, okay, for the fall. So if she applies and gets accepted, then she'll be going over there anyway, okay, to be a part of her graduate work and can represent again this idea of Team Kentucky. And her professor, who happens to be from Senegal, has a lot of ties back and forth with his home country, and he's interested in going and getting Center to help fund that, maybe with several students, okay? It's also something that we're working on that as well.
Yeah, I saw Joni's comments about Pawpaw, and I was looking for different companies that potentially, would qualify for the requirements. Jeff the Creed Distillery there in Chevrolet comes to mind, and they've actually got a Pawpaw bourbon. They've got a
really?
European distributor that's got a distribution in the United Kingdom. So.
Oh wow.
So I haven't looked at the list and the requirements or anything yet. I haven't had a chance. But we make it commercially, and we just had the health department come out and inspect. So we're commercially certified at KSU to make the jam.
That's great. Yeah. I don't know. I saw the comment here. If Pawpaw's on the Arc of Taste, Maura might know, but I will research it, and I don't see why it shouldn't be. I'm in the 6,000 items, huh?
They definitely are on the arc.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, see, Popeye, people don't realize it, but Popeye is really, it's a brandy. It's not really a bourbon. It's considered a brandy. And I've been experimenting with it, a matter of fact. And you stick it in a bourbon barrel, and man, you're talking about delicious. But it's a safety concern with Popeye because it produces a lot of methane in it. And it killed a lot of people, so you got to do research on it to make it.
We don't let that happen.
I'm serious because I've been researching all this stuff for years. Ever since Joni, you came out to my farm before, and I thought you looked familiar. And I remember you were talking about y'all starting to grow it. I think at the time, and I found out somebody had some, and I was working with this distillery on a bourbon recipe of mine, and they gave me something to experiment around with. We've been experimenting around with it, and gosh, it can make one heck of a brandy because it's got a mango and a banana flavor to it, and it's really good.
We may have some side note. Sorry, we may have some pulp that may need some experimenting and fermentation.
I'm telling you, I'm the man to do it.
We've got some. We have a new fermentation program here at KSU, so
Yeah.
I can just see.
I want to mention this to Tim too. Tim, my farm was owned. My farm was an old distillery back in 1867, and Pepper's Distillery. It started off as Silver Springs Distillery, and Pepper's had a distillery here, James Pepper's,
Right.
And Henry Clay also they produced out here, and they changed the laws back in I think the late 1900s that you cannot have another distillery out here because of agricultural property. And I'm trying to get my license now to change the zoning. I'm kind of working on that now, but I don't want a large distillery. I want to do something maybe 10 or 15 barrels a year. And so I'm in the process of trying to get some letters together to see if I can get the zoning changed for it. This is the ordinance change, basically. And
Are you in Fayette County, or are you in Woodford?
yeah, I'm in Fayette County. Yeah, Fayette, I'm right across from the Agriculture Center on Leestown Road.
Okay.
A lot of people didn't know this was a didn't realize it was used to be a distillery, and the spring is it's called Silver Springs, and it used to be one of the biggest springs in the Kentucky that provided water for bourbon, and the history is unbelievable. And I just found out too that it was a slave that worked on the farm, but that's getting ready to come out later, that he's part of the distillery. It's almost like a Buccaneer story that's coming
Yes.
out. Nobody knows about it
Yeah.
yet. So,
Yeah.
But I'm gonna share some stuff with it later. Yeah.
You know, a few of the thoughts here about this idea of Team Kentucky. There's also a huge biblioteca, or whatever they call it in Italian, a big bookstore, okay, that features all kinds of books that are food and ag related. And usually when I go over there, I see, again, Wendell Berry's books are there on display for sale. But that could be another approach, is to get other Kentucky authors to say, hey, here's this big international event. They have a huge area for books that are food and ag related, and you all know many people who've written incredible books that are food and ag related, that we could also make part of this whole Kentucky delegation, even if it means in some fashion just corralling a bunch of the books, like the books by Tammy Potter. I've got this. I'm going brain dead here. This friend of mine, Steve K.
Wayne.
Who?
Mr. Wayne. Winnie.
Oh well, yeah. Mark Winnie, but he lives in New Mexico. I'll be visiting him in June. He lives in Santa Fe, but no, Savoring Kentucky. Steve K's wife in Lexington has written several books in conjunction with Rita Michael about Savoring Kentucky. But anyway, there's a bunch of Kentucky authors who've done things like that, and then also who gets involved are many other international organizations. The FAO and the UN is involved. Typically, there's some connection that we've had with the Pope in a variety of ways. Mentioning small producers, our indigenous friends, and they go representing what's called Turtle Island. Okay, they go under that umbrella. But friends of ours up in the boundary water areas that harvest wild rice. Okay. They take, boxes and boxes of wild rice to the event in hopes, and they've done so, of getting, some quantity on the international market. So there's many examples of folks in the USA who've gone over there with the thought of how can we expand our market, not so much trying to produce, like with the wild rice, millions of packages, okay, but just being able to show that, hey, our traditions of harvesting, not growing, just harvesting wild rice is a tradition worth keeping this diversity, and we just wanted just a small kind of connection internationally. So you all know that we're over here and we're alive and we're still kicking, okay? Yep.
Well, give me as much information as you
I will.
can.
I will.
Anything that we could replicate, maybe another State Department of Agriculture has done, or information on the potential buyers that would be present. We have a consultant that we work with through SUSTA that has the European market, so I'm going to reach out to them to see if they have been involved with this event in the past. And,
right.
They maybe could help address some of the questions on how we can meet the standards. And
okay.
There's certain expenses and certain projects that it's a very standard process in the way that SUSTA would approve a company, but this is sort of a special project.
Yeah.
And so I need to make sure that if we are able to use their funds, that we meet all of their requirements and then still meet all the requirements of the Terra Madre show.
Right.
And so it's going to be threading the needle, but if we can support it, we would definitely like to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you. And again, the idea is like we call it Team Kentucky, drawing from different spectrums, okay, of our Commonwealth. And what we'll do is take some of the questions you all have asked and get some answers back to you. And then once again, when we open up the application process for delegates, we'll make sure we get that to you. And I'm going to keep talking to, as I have been, I'm like the Kentucky, like blabbermouth, okay? Okay. I'll keep talking about it to a variety of people. I'm in communication now again with a variety of folk, both within the different aspects of the bourbon industry. Okay, I've been in touch with several distilleries, as well as the like the Black Bourbon Society. I'm trying to get y'all might know Ashley Smith, the Black Soil, to help corral maybe an idea of a contingent of what you might call Kentucky Black farmers. One of the areas of tourism is around African American agritourism and the whole legacies behind that. And you mentioned a number of things, Alan, about on your farm. We're leveraging on our farm in Muhlenberg County some research projects with Murray and Western, but also some ag tourism, because on the farm, 900 acres, we had a church, a cemetery still, and a Rosenwald school. So we're trying to develop in the farm an even larger vision, even within the farm itself, beyond just according to the role of just production of right now corn and soybeans, but all kinds of things along that line that we're trying to work on. And that applies, I'm sure, across the state in a similar kind of way, that there are some wonderful examples of what we can do as tourists. When I when I gave the blue horses away, many folks there already knew about Kentucky's role in the thoroughbred horse industry. They already knew about that. So again, we can take an incredible, I think, Team Kentucky to Italy. And we'll be back in touch, and maybe we'll, after we've done some more research and getting things to you, maybe you can work on your respective end, Joni, Tim, Alan, and see what, KSU, see what, I know that there's some travel restrictions right now within state government. I'm doing a pollinator presentation in May at the Prairieville Battlefield about pollinators, another hat that I wear. And I've invited a bunch of people and said, well, we're still under some restriction about being there. Can you Zoom it to us? So we understand that, but we hope by September things will open up and that kind of thing. So wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you all again for taking time to join us. Keep sending me more questions. We've gotten these questions here as well. And
I guess my main question is, are we going to try to do like a unified front? So when we went to Moultrie, Georgia a few years ago, like we had a Team Kentucky per se. And so we kind of all got together and we put together like what colors we were going to wear, what we were going to, how we were going to represent the media part of it, the different, I'm just thinking banner with all of the people that came, something, maybe some Kentucky Proud stuff, all of it together, kind of, I don't know.
You're speaking my language, your heart, okay? you're speaking my language. I just think that there is greater synergy if we approach it as a team, okay? We all may have our particular points of buy-in, what our outcomes might want to be, who we're trying to connect with. Because we can make arrangements. If you all, like Alan, if you want to meet with some international representatives that are either wine or whatever else distributors, we can help arrange that while you're in Italy. Okay, we can do things like that. And Tim and Joni, same with you all. If Joni brings from KSU a bunch of researchers, well, we can get you doing presentations where you're presenting your research, which is incredible. We know that. But also to meet up with other researchers from around the world who you can partner with. Because we know there's all kinds of research being done internationally. We all know that. Okay? I just feel that here's an opportunity where we can just enhance what we're already doing. We're already doing, we know, incredible work. Don't get me wrong. We're already doing that. But here's a way, through as you were saying, Joni, that synergy of going there with a collective mindset, saying if we go there in that way, then we can all benefit even more if we go there under that kind of sense of team. And I don't know if we can get, a Carly Parry to go with us, and Stoops and whoever else, Kenny Payne, but we can try that too. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that it's two events happening simultaneously. So there's the big food event, and then there's the conference. So there is an opportunity to present research, to speak at the conference component, which is on the same site as the food event. So there's this sort of an academic and other component to the whole event as well. I know we focused a lot on food and products during this call, but there are other opportunities, as Jim mentioned. So I just wanted to underscore that before we left the call.
So I guess maybe you'll send me the links and stuff to that so I can send it to my researchers and all and see if any of them are interested in potentially, because that is an easy way to get our researchers there. If they're going to present, then it's pretty easy to justify the payment for the travel and, stuff like that. The food side of it, I think I can justify as extension and education for me and maybe one other person. But the other thing is, how many delegates does each, how many delegates and how many, if you're presenting, do you have to be a delegate or or is that just for the food part?
Yeah.
Well, delegates a whole different tier. It's actually, the whole event is free and it's open to the public. There are specific events that are ticketed, and those are, special giant speakers and things like that. But most of it is free and open to the public. The Italian government has a bunch of sponsors and things like that fund the event. So because it's going to be outside, they're expecting there just to be walk-ups and people just coming and going. So you don't have to be a delegate to attend necessarily, but being a delegate gets you other perks, like Jim mentioned, you get room and board, and you get a special lanyard. So you're supposed to be representing your community if you're a delegate, and you're representing it as maybe a farmer or a specific type of producer of an Arc of Taste item would be a really good example. So that kind of a thing is what a delegate does. It gets you you're a different tier of attendee, but it's open to the public. So anyone can go and anyone can attend, and anyone can speak. I just asked yesterday where we were at with presenter information, and everything's happening right now. So that list will come out very soon.
Right.
Okay, because I know for KSU, we need to get our travel in early because, and I know with state government too, they shut us down. They're like, sorry, you can't get anything.
Yeah.
And so if we don't get it before a certain time, we have to wait till the next group of money gets, it's just, it can be hard.
Yeah. Have to have everything aligned.
Yeah. And again, I've been in touch again with UK, Western, Murray, Berea College, as well about, a delegate and so forth. So the idea of a Team Kentucky represents being a team in different categories, okay, as well. But also I would mention, back to Alan's point earlier about going as a small producer, what you get also is a space for ideas, okay? Alan, if you go there, okay, let's say on the wine side, but you're meeting winemakers from all over the world, okay? And you can sit down with them, compare notes. What are you doing? What's working for you? How is climate change impacting what you're doing? Or how is this disease impacting what you're doing? You can sit down with these folk like we're doing here now, and it's a place for ideas to be generated. And you come back saying, wow, you come back. You're already full. You come back, man, and your head's twice the size it is now, okay? So we can't forego that kind of experience that we're talking about as well.
Right. That's how I came up with a traditional method. Champagne, I toured Europe when my wife was coaching. We toured Europe, and I just went to all the champagne places over there and learned the traditional method and just kept it in my mind for probably 10 years after that. And I produced a the champagne. We can't call it champagne, but it's sparkling.
Right.
But it's really a traditional method that they use to make champagne. So
Yeah.
and I end up winning double gold.
Oh wow, yeah. One thing I learned and going to Italy and Europe, and I've been around different places, is that like you were saying, if you're gonna call it champagne, it's grown in the Champagne region. If you're gonna call it Parmesan cheese, it's going in the Parma region, okay?
Right.
And things like that, very specific to the terroir. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But Joni, I will do more thinking about that whole research side of it, and I'll be reaching out to other organizations within the USDA, SARE, whatever, about some type of again more of a team kind of a concept. We met with Vilsack, back in the spring. We had about a bunch of webinars, okay, and there were promises of doing some things differently, enhancing certain things, and so forth. So I'm going to be, again, approaching some of those kind of folks saying, well, hey, there's something kind of maybe different, okay, that maybe you can wrap your arms around as well within the USDA, overall. Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful,
Jim,
wonderful.
thanks for organizing the call. I saw Mara needs to jump off.
Oh, yeah, we all do. Hey, love y'all so much, okay? And we're going to go as a Team Kentucky.
I took a lot of really good notes, so I'll share them with the group when we're done here.
Great. Okay.
Jim, please send me some information on your event on May 1st, if you could.
Oh, yes.
Me too.
Okay, I will.
Hey Tim, can I give you a call? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, please do. And my office number is 502-782-9265. And if you want to just call after this, so be glad to meet with you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Joni, can I get your number?
Yes, it's 502-783-6814. That's a Google number that comes to my cell phone, so I can separate everything.
Okay.
Great.
Lovely.
Thank you all.
Thanks for
It's been a fun meeting, okay?
Thank you all.
All right. Take good care now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Mara.